Liverpool Football Club are getting closer and closer to signing Alexander Isak. Today, we've got exclusive reports from David Ornstein and Fabrizio Romano with regards to two big departures, Darwin Nunez and Harvey Elliott. Darwin Nunez deal is practically nearly there. There should be a here we go in the next day or so. And Liverpool's departures are looking close to 250 million euros. There may be even one or two more departures, which would push them close to 300 million. Plus, they're also looking at bringing in a centre-back. Yesterday, we spoke about how Mark Gahey may not be a Liverpool player now because he doesn't want to upset the relationship between him and the hierarchy of Crystal Palace. It's only a few days now before the Charity Shield, Liverpool's opening game of the season. I know it's not the Premier League season, but for me, it's the start of the season. Liverpool play Crystal Palace. We're going to break that game down as well. Make sure you go down, drop a like, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. 93%. This is crazy. 93% of you, yes, you who watch the content just this month in August haven't subscribed. So please go down, hit that subscribe button. We're going to jump straight into the Darwin Nunes report coming out this morning. Exclusive, Hilal are getting close to Darwin Nunes deal after verbal agreement in place with Liverpool. Club-to-club agreement is done, while Hilal are in talks with Nunes over personal terms. Decision's up to Nunes, but talks underway. Ingazi wants him. Now, Darwin Nunes, for me, the levels he was producing in Liga Portugal, had some really good games in the Champions League, has come to Liverpool and he hasn't really delivered to the expectations people had on him. Now Liverpool are looking at signing one of the best number 9s in world football, Alexander Isak. Darwin Nunes leaves as a Premier League champion. He leaves as a League Cup winner. He leaves as playing in some of the biggest games in world football. He will look back on his time at Liverpool and be, do you know what, that was definitely a success for me. But from Liverpool's perspective, you know, the amount of money that they're looking at generating for him is absolutely insane, because I also want to break down the amount of money that Liverpool have generated this transfer window. So then Darwin Nunez followed Fabrizio Romano's report up, essentially saying that about 33 minutes ago, to be precise, he said this: Hilal reached an agreement in principle with Liverpool to sign Darwin Nunez for 53 million euros plus add-ons in place verbally. Liverpool striker indicating willingness to accept. Steps needed to finalise, but would be a huge recruit to Hilal, the Athletic post via Fabrizio Romano. 53 million euros plus add-ons. People are saying the deal could reach 60 to 65 million euros. That is unbelievable business from Hughes, from Edwards, from all the hierarchy of Liverpool to generate quite a significant fee for a player, let's be honest, that isn't first team. You know, and when you add in the amount of money they've got for other players, there is more than enough in the tank to go out there and sign Alexander Isak. David Ornstein said yesterday, this situation with Alexander Isak needs to be resolved, and it needs to be resolved ASAP. You know, Alexander Isak's pushing for the move. He's agreed terms. Everything about him right now wants to play for Liverpool Football Club. And for me personally, I think this deal is going to happen now. I'd be absolutely astonished if we're at the end of the transfer window and he is not a Liverpool player. It just makes perfect sense now. They've got the money for him. They've sold a striker. They've sold Luis Diaz. They've brought in Hugo Ekitike. And what a transfer window they have had. Now, just to kind of help their claim in their pursuit for Alexander Isak, David Ornstein come out with this yesterday, saying RB Leipzig speaking to Liverpool about a possible move for Harvey Elliott. Situation at early stage, but RB Leipzig exploring, plus clubs talking. 22-year-old Liverpool midfielder seen as a potential replacement for Xavi Simons. Now, we know Xavi Simons is forcing the move to Chelsea. That's where he wants to play next season. He wants to play in the Champions League for Chelsea for the Club World Cup champions. So, for me, that is a remarkable replacement for Xavi Simons. I think Harvey Elliott is massively underrated. Had a really, really good under-21 season with England. Had a really good campaign with Liverpool. Not a first-team player, but quite easily would come in as rotational. Can play on the left, can play on the right, can play in the 10. Has got a great engine on him. You're talking, according to reports, 40 to 50 million euros for this. You may be looking at, with add-ons, about 45. And when you look at this right here, this is absolutely insane. 200. So total market value of departures. So they've earned so far 143 million euros, 70 million for Diaz, 35 million euros for Quansah, 14 million for Kelleher, 10 million for Trent, 10 million for Morton, and 3 million for Nat Phillips. If you add the 53 million plus add-ons for Darwin Nunes, that basically goes to 200 million euros. Then you add the probably 45 million euros on for Harvey Elliott, you're looking at 250 million euros, sorry. Which, and let's be honest, the only first team player that's left is Diaz and Trent. And they've brought in Hugo Ekitike, Florian Wirtz, Kirkes, and of course, Frimpong. So far, they've had an unbelievable transfer window, and it looks like now that they are really pushing to sign Alexander Isak. And for me, I think this still is going to happen purely on these two signings. For me, were the ones that I thought this should essentially get this over the line. Now, Dave O.C.K. Kopp, however you pronounce his name, this come out last night. Breaking news, Newcastle striker Alexander Isak is expected to formally tell Newcastle he wants to leave this week. Now, we know for a fact that there's already been an opening bid of about £120 million coming in from David Ornstein. He reported that at some point last week. And also, not only that, there are a lot of players, like a lot of teams like Newcastle, looking at additional strikers to bring in. For me, once Darwin Nunes is out the door, I personally believe Liverpool will have the funds. Now, this was a couple of days ago. Alexander Isak will be resuming to training at Newcastle United. Newcastle squad returning from Asia pre-season tour. Missed a 25-year-old striker. Liverpool saw offer for Sweden international rejected, but interest is ongoing. I personally think they will come back in. You're probably looking at, in this market, 140, maybe 150 million pounds. Now, I saw Jamie Carragher say recently 150 million pounds is Kylian Mbappe sort of level. I don't think Kylian Mbappe leaves for anything less than 200 million from Real Madrid. And it's all building up for this weekend. This weekend is the Community Shield. Crystal Palace versus Liverpool. They will be about Conor Bradley and they will be about Joe Gomez. I comfortably believe Liverpool will win this. We will be covering this game as well. It's 3 o'clock this Sunday. But you look at all the departures they've had and you look at the amount of money they've spent, no one can tell me that Liverpool do not mean business. Like, when you look at the amount of money they've spent on incomings, they've done close to 300 million euros, right? When you look at the money they're going to get back in for Harvey Elliott and Nunes, they're practically at an even. 125 million euros for Wirtz, 100 million euros nearly for Ekitike, 47 for Kirkes, 40 for Frimpong, and then a young goalkeeper. Georgi Mamardashvili returns from loan, Ben Dirk returns from loan, Nat Phillips, who's returned and then just been sold, and their fee comes in at 308 million. Once Elliott and Nunes are sold, they're only probably net right now, a net loss, or a net, in terms of departures, at 60 million euros. If Alexander Isak forces this move, and what I said in yesterday's video, which I think is incredibly an interesting scenario, is Liverpool's second game of the season is against who? Who is it against? You guessed it. It's against Newcastle United. Imagine Alexander Isak. Imagine that. Alexander Isak's debut, for instance, is at St James's Park against his old football club. That, for me, would be absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. Let me know your thoughts. Make sure you drop a like. Do you think Alexander Isak will be staying at Newcastle? Do you think he will be joining Liverpool? Harvey Elliott as well. Apparently, he is a report come out literally in the last 20 seconds. Harvey Elliott is now open to the move for RB Leipzig. And according to reports, Darwin Nunes is set to have his medical in the next 24 to 48 hours. So make sure you go down, drop a like. Make sure you do hit that subscribe button, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you for watching. I am out.